everybody. Thanks so much for making the time and joining us today. I'm Robin. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager at Learning People. I'm hosting the webinar today, and we've got a great panel of project management and career experts to talk to you about how you can fast track your project management career. We have 4 people on our panel today who represent all of the major touch points that Learning People can offer on your journey from enrolment with us all the way through to employment. So we're going to go over to you first, Matt.
Yeah, I've been with Learning People now for nearly 14 years. And in that time, I'd say I've seen everything from recessions, pandemics, complete change of certification, training, delivery, the whole lot, cost of living crisis, AI and things like that. And yeah, across that time, I think my team has gone from 5 people up to 20 odd people, and we have a huge amount of experience in terms of being able to help you and guide you with whatever stage of your career journey is at. But in short, we've seen it all. We kind of know nearly all of it. And we're probably the best company around to be able to give you that one-to-one advice and tailor it to your needs.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Just before we go on with the introductions, I'm going to launch a quick poll, actually. So for those of you in the audience, it would be great to learn a little bit more about you and what your motivations are for being here today and for wanting to get into project management or change your career. Okay, so next up we have Wad, a career consultant specialising in project management. So again, has that deep understanding of the market and is talking to people every day who have questions and are looking to move into this field. So a really good point of reference for us today.
Hi everyone, I'm Wad, a career consultant here at Learning People. I've been here for some time and have been on the project management team the whole way through. And like Robin said, I, as a career consultant, would be your first touch point into this new journey of whether it's developing your skills or career changing. So it's always brilliant to listen to people's experiences that they're coming from, all the transferable skills, and together lay out a path which can at first seem daunting but very manageable, and we make it nice and easy of exactly how you get into your new life and into that spot.
I'll do it. Thank you very much. Great. So now we're moving onto our the student services side of our business. So I'm going to come to you first.
Hi, I'm Vita. I am the Senior Student Care Consultant. So yeah, we support our students throughout their enrolment, and our basic goal is to get them to pass in their certifications, working then with the career services team. So yeah, if you imagine WAD is the starting point of that journey, you get passed straight over to us. And yeah, Robin's going to talk about the next sort of stage of that in a moment. But yeah, that's pretty much me and what we do.
Cool, thank you very much. And finally, we have Sophie, who's is a senior career services consultant, so works on our career services team. This team is the important link between passing your exams and actually getting into employment. So her team's helping students with everything from optimizing and building on their professional profiles, so their LinkedIn, their CV, applying for jobs, preparing for interviews, everything that's needed to translate those studies and credentials into actually landing the job that you set out to get in the first place. So very important part of the Learning People journey.
Perfect. Hi, yeah, so I'm Sophie. I work in the career services team, and Robin's, explained kind of what we do really, really thoroughly there. But yeah, so we will work with you once you pass that first exam. So whatever that looks like on your pathway when you get to us. Once you get that first exam passed with the support of the student care team, you'll get transitioned over to the career services team. And that's when we start to work with you on any part of your kind of career goals. So, the first part is we really understand what you want. So what types of roles you're looking for, what you're hoping to gain once you get those certifications. And essentially, we're quite a small team. And the reason why we are so small is because we want to build those one-to-one relationships with you. We want to have a really good relationship with you, and we will take you from for some people that have no experience whatsoever to people that are really senior, but we will be there for you throughout your whole journey until you're in that role. And even if you want to progress into roles later down your career, that's when that's why we do the job that we do, is because we want to see people being successful. We want to see people grow. So yeah, you'll hear a lot from us, and we will build really, really close relationships with you to help you land the role that you're desired to get.
Thank you, Sophie. So I think that's a great way to start. You get an idea of every sort of person or team you might work with over your journey with Learning People, right from enrolling all the way through to that to the employment at the end. So the vast majority of people in the audience are career changers, which I guess comes as no surprise to us. That is, we're very used to working with people maybe from, often not from project management or even technical backgrounds who are wanting to move into this kind of role. Although we do have a few who really are called career launchers, right at the start of their career. and a couple in there as well who are already in project management looking to progress. So I think there'll be answers and information that's relevant to everybody in here. And then why people want to get into the sector. Now, this is really a mix. So the top is earning potential. Oh, no, sorry. The top is opportunities for flexible working and hybrid working location. It's normally this or the earning potential which come out on tops when we ask people this. So it's not surprised to see those at the top. So 56% looking for greater earning potential, 67% looking for more flexible work opportunities. There's also about half who want to gain the skill sets that can help them work across many sectors, which is one thing that project management is great for. And then we also have many in the audience who are aware that there's huge employment demand within project management, which is something we're going to cover off actually in the first section of this webinar. So thank you. It's good to get to know you a little bit better. So on to that first section. And I think probably the best person here for the first question would be Matt. So someone who's been, like you said, been working at the business for a long time, has had finger on the pulse of the industry for a really long time. I'm just going to start really broad. What's going on in the world of project management? What's going on in the industry that was going to be relevant to people here today?
That is a very broad question. What's going on in the industry? I think the first thing I'd say is that nothing new, and I don't mean that in terms of anything that's disrupted the industry, because there definitely is, which we'll talk about. But I think overall, nothing has really changed in the fact that project management is one of the few careers I can ever think of that is both recession-proof, future-proof, non-industry, non-sector specific. You know, if you look at the answers there about why people want to get into the industry, you can round a lot of that off with security and flexibility. And I think that's fantastic. Flexible in the fact you can go and work in any different sector, because the skills a project manager has don't vary. You know, we've got some people that have gone from being project managers in hospitality to project managers in pharmaceutical fields. The only thing that needs to change really is the knowledge and the local understanding of the environment you work in. I think one thing that has, though, changed hugely in the last probably 4 or 5 years is the decrease in demand for Prince 2 versus the huge demand in Agile. It's almost gone full circle. I mean, Prince 2 is still a fantastic certification, but it doesn't give modern projects the flexibility and the nimble nature that Agile does. So that has been one of the shifts. The other main shift in the landscape has been a change management, complete phenomenon. You know, the more and more that projects deal with humans and moving parts and ethics and emotional intelligence, for example, the change management side of things has gone from being a nice thing to learn about and a bit flexible and like makes you stand out to a borderline 100% necessity in any career that's you're considering in project management. You need change management. And then the last thing that's been a big thing is AI. I think that's everyone is, let's get the elephant out in the room here. If you'd ask the question, are you scared about AI? I think we're going to do an AI poll at some point as well, right? And people's perceived impact on how it impacts the careers. The great thing about AI is it's only going to actually increase the need for human skills in project management. So, should we talk about that now then? Yeah.
Yeah, so I have actually just launched the poll there just to get a feeling for how people feel about AI. So I feel like this is a conversation that Matt and Wadi will be having quite a lot at the moment, people thinking about this. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But as these answers roll in, what would your headline be, Matt, about AI and project management? So you touched on already that it's not necessarily, I mean, it's changing the landscape for sure, but is it something people should be worried about, or is it just something people need to prepare for in a certain way?
It's that latter one, prepare for in a certain way. Project management is 100% an industry that is already using AI. And I think that the people that are seeing the best career progression are the ones that are using it well in a structured way, aren't scared of it, and recognizing the benefits that you can have on their career. So the headline would be embrace AI and become a better project manager. Simple as that. We'll cover off the other bits in there and the concerns and the positives. I don't want to spoil too much about that discussion point later on, but let's see what the results show first and foremost.
Sure. Well, it's a pretty positive. I mean, actually, no, it's pretty balanced results so far, I'd say. So we've got 44 on positive. Think it will automate the mundane side of tasks, whereas 44% are quite concerned, worrying about there being fewer jobs. So I think there's people talk a lot about AI not taking jobs, but people who know how to use it taking jobs. I think it's something we take very seriously in our curricula across all sectors, that people are AI fluent, if not complete, at the frontier of AI experts, but they have the skills they need to thrive in the industry where they want to find a job. So I'm going to leave that running just a second longer, and we're going to talk now to you, Wad. So you are talking to students every single day who are looking, well, potential students who are looking to get into project management. What are the kind of things you're hearing? What are the kind of patterns and trends you're hearing from people around AI also, but generally?
I'd say the thing I hear the most when people are concerned about making that move is the concern that maybe they don't have the skills or what it takes to go into project management. And people are always really pleasantly surprised to know that you do. Within project management, so much of it relies on the soft skills and those core skills, interpersonal, with it being so human related, which is why it is so safe from AI. A human has to be in that spot of like anything from emotionally managing a team or being able to control something in terms of stakeholder management, things like that, has to be a human. And all of those skills are things you develop throughout your role, no matter which background you've come from. I myself, for example, was a teacher for a while, and whenever I talk to teachers, that's so, again, human-centered, the management of a classroom, the planning of your lessons, things like that. There's a lot of our students who come from a healthcare background, and again, being able to work in such a regimented, guidelined environment in that way translates over so well. So that's always a highlight of my conversation with prospective students, is that you do have what it takes, and it's just a case of giving yourself a really competitive edge in the paper side of things, in terms of getting all the qualifications to make yourself a very strong candidate by the time that you do work with Sophie and the team. And yeah, and then the ball is rolling.
Amazing, thank you very much. So I'm going to end the poll there, and actually I think the feelings out there, like I said, are pretty split. A few neutral, nobody unsure, which is interesting. Everyone's got something of an opinion on this, but it is very divisive, and I suppose that's also not particularly surprising that there's this mix of opinions in there. So we've touched a little bit on AI already, but more generally in terms of the market, open to either of you, what would you say job demand is like in the project management sector at the moment? I see a lot on the news, definitely, about big infrastructure projects in the UK, which I believe can lead to a lot of an influx of project management jobs. What are we seeing in terms of demand that our audience might be interested in?
Yeah, I'll take this one then. Firstly, if that's all right, Wad, because it's increased, and I touched on earlier about how it can be recession proof. Let's take out what the word is. It's uncertainty proof. And that can mean anything from when you're downscaling a project or a company, you need project teams. If you're upscaling, anything that involves a budget, anything that involves a product, involves people that want to be run successfully, needs a project team. Demand is up. You know, for example, it doesn't sound like a huge amount, but like about 30,000 jobs more for this quarter than it was this time last year. But the overwhelming statistics are the fact that, you know, we're talking millions of project managers are going to be required between now and over the next 10 years. And that's just carrying on a recent trend. Firstly, it was digitalization. Now it is AI projects. Who's going to implement AI at a company? Well, it's project management teams. Who's going to go and source like what AI to use, what budgets to use, how many people to use on it? It's project teams. So from a cold-hearted clinical perspective, any company that's embracing AI or any industry, it needs project teams to successfully deploy that. So it's leading to an increase in jobs in that way. But the other thing being is in the fact that it is one of the few industries that we can emphatically say is getting bigger, stronger, more secure because of AI. And the reason being is AI can replace the sort of the repetitive sort of day-to-day administration tasks, but project management is about people management. It's about managing stakeholders. It's about actively managing the budgets, the risk, and the different clients and expectations and the project team. And one of the overwhelming things about job satisfaction in project management is it remains incredibly high and is only increasing because AI is freeing people up to do more of the jobs that they actually enjoy. So rather than it being able to replace it, it's not. It's enhancing it, leading to more jobs and better job satisfaction. So there we go.
Amazing, very comprehensive answer. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's that section on the wider job market and then the trends that we're seeing. So let's maybe dig down a little bit into actually the actionable stuff, the bread and butter of this webinar. So starting your career in project management. So I'm going to start probably by coming over to, sorry, Matt, I know you've just stopped talking. Let's see how you fare with this one then. Why is project management, so if we're talking now about the actionable steps people need to take to start their career in project management, why is project management such a good sector for people looking to retrain? Because we know a lot of people on this call are career changers, the vast majority of them. So why is it so particularly good as a retraining industry?
I think I touched on this as well, the skills that people already have that they don't know they have. Once I give my little spiel, I want to hear what Sophie thinks on this as well, because she works directly with our students, right? It's the fact that people have so many more project management skills than they realize, that when people are taking a step back from a career, be it in their 30s or 40s, or even when they graduate or leave school, they're sitting there going, what skills do I have? A lot of the ones they have just perfectly lend themselves to people management or responsibilities, or even if it is analytical side of things, there's that involved with project management. There's so many different factors of the industry that means people naturally lean towards it as a career. And I know we say that the majority of people on this call are career changers. I would wager a guess that if people were honest, looked at their skills, they've probably been doing project management without the title of project management. So they think that they're changing careers. They're not. Like, people that work in hospitality, events, teaching, like Wad was talking about earlier, these are project managers just under the guise of another profession. So I think that's why it lends itself easily to it. But I mean, Sophie, what do you think? I mean, you talk to people in that field all the time, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talk to people from all sorts of backgrounds, and I mean, just echoing what Matt and what you guys have said already, is I think there's lots and lots of research out there around, hard skills, soft skills, what's more relevant, etc. But I think soft skills, particularly in a career in project management, is huge. Lots of people come to us and they feel, I haven't got direct projects experience. I've spoken to someone earlier today who's got great experience but has never had the job title projects. And she saw that as a real barrier. But actually, when she spoke to me about that, she had, she'd managed deadlines, she has problem solved, she's improved processes, she's gone through change in businesses. All of that were, and then we looked at job descriptions of project managers, and she could almost tick everything on there. And that was our very initial call to kind of boost that confidence to say, do you know what? I absolutely can do project management. So I think, if you're not sure, the bit of advice I give to everyone when they start with us is log on, have a look at project roles at whatever level. There's lots of different levels of project management. And I think you'll have a real surprise at what you see in the job descriptions, because yes, there's hard technical skills that you'd get through the certifications, but actually it's about all those other skills that you've gained through previous work. Even if you've been at home raising a family for the last 5 years, you will be developing skills, whether you've been off traveling for the last 2 years, whatever it is, you would have built skills that are relevant to a career in project management. But it's just about, in career services, what we will do is look at things like your CV and think, how can we make sure that from an employer perspective, this will really stand out when you're looking to apply for those roles. So transferable skills, I would say, are just as, if not more important than those really hard technical skills.
Amazing. Thanks, Sophie. I love what you said there about even family planning, travel planning, all of these things help you build, flex those muscles, that are really important for the transferable skills you bring to project management. While we're on the topic of transferable skills, we did have a couple of questions come in before the webinar, like I said. We had one from Gosia, for example, that's asking about transitioning from HR, so mid-senior level HR. We had another question from Duncan around transferring from healthcare. I wonder if anybody here has had experience advising somebody with those backgrounds.
Shall I go? Do you want me to go first?
If you like, yeah.
Don't want to jump in front of anyone. I mean, I actually saw these questions before, so I went and dug out some examples. I think healthcare, I'm sure I'm echoing everyone that works with the learning people, is a really common previous job role. Lots of people transition from healthcare. And I think that speaks for itself. The core skills of project management come from healthcare, communication, coordinating teams, stakeholder management, competing with lots of different demands, priorities, problem solving, whatever. So I would say probably a huge bulk of our population come from healthcare, but HR is the one I wanted to touch on. in a bit more detail. I think there was a question around if you've come from that kind of mid-level HR background, how does that transition into a role in project management? And I think HR, particularly HR professionals, come with, as I say, all those transferable skills: stakeholder management, managing timeline, driving change, improving processes. But actually, we've got lots of good examples. One that we've placed recently, sorry, I wrote this down, was someone was in a mid-level HR role within the NHS and has recently transitioned into a project coordinator role, which is sort of that mid-level sort of project role in BT, which is, you know, a company that we all recognise. And you wouldn't necessarily link HR in the NHS to a project role within BT, but actually from looking at those job descriptions and what she did previously, it made that transition really seamless. So I think, you know, again, just I'm sure you guys can echo what I'm saying, but yeah, it's definitely healthcare and HR, and all those will come with loads of transferable skills.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great when people are submitting these questions before and you can have a chance to think of some great case studies like that. So thank you very much for thinking back on the students you've worked with. A part of the agenda for this section also touched on whether or not people need a project management background or have a sort of technical digital background or a degree in this area to get into project management. And we also had a question come through before. Where is it? From Victoria, about how can someone get started in project management without a degree. So that kind of links up to this nicely. So if we bring that back to, I mean, Matt or Wad, maybe, do you need a background in project management or a technical background to get into project management? Or I suppose we've already sort of touched on it, but yeah, or not?
No. It's that I could end the answer there through feeling that well compelled, but I think we've covered so much as well that highlights the fact that it's about transferable skills and who you are more than actually that background. I do say though strongly that, and this has been raised in a question as well, you do need a certification. That's 100%, and there's many reasons for that, right? Because the technical skills about project management sometimes go down to what methodologies different companies use. You've already heard me throw around terms like Prince and Agile and things like that. What they are basically is like just a set of principles or a set of instructions, the way that enable you to plan and effectively run a project. And a lot of the time companies want that because that's the route that they use. So it makes sense. You've got 10 people on a project team all using the same methodology, there's a better chance that project being delivered on budget and in time, rather than 10 people that are great people managers and can do different tasks, but they're all running around in different directions. It makes no sense whatsoever. So sometimes it's lazily referred to as different recipes to like to basically cook a project. I suppose it's a weird way of putting it. But the simple fact of the matter is you need that qualification as well from a red tape perspective. If you don't have the right qualification under your belt, there's nothing to say that you've kind of meet legislation, if for want of a better phrase, you know, gone are the days where people didn't hire their mate Dave because he's a good bloke he's known for years on a construction site. It doesn't work like that. We've learned so many lessons about mismanagement. You can look at quite high profile ones at the moment as well. So making sure you've got the right certification is an essential step, and I would say more essential than having a traditional educational background behind you as well. And it's why we're so busy this time of year. We get a lot of graduates that have got project management degrees that are then finding that employers are looking to have that set way of doing things, massively so. But and if Sophie was still here, I'm sure she would say exactly the same things. It's more about the skills that you have and the way that we can work with them. But you only actually really get access to that team once you've completed a qualification for a reason. There's no point delivering a fantastic service that readies you properly for the job market with a 97-98% success rate if you don't have a qualification that is effectively a ticket to the show. If you don't have that ticket to the show, you're not coming in no matter how good you are, right? And that's definitely what I would say about certifications over the degree side of things. I don't know, what about you, Wad? Would you have anything that you'd kind of add to that or recognise yourself in recent conversations you've had?
Yeah, I would just highlight that unfortunately, even the people who have gone to university to even at master's level to do projects management, they do struggle in the job market because, like Matt said, those certifications give the employer the trust that you actually know how to do the job and to address Alison's question in the chat with the technical skills. Like Matt said, it's methodologies and it's frameworks on how to plan projects, how to budget, how to schedule, things like that, which you learn within the certifications. And that's why they're so highly valued, because then you actually know how to do the job from day one. You can hit the ground running.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, we speak a lot here about certifications sort of being your currency into employment. I think that really hit the nail on the head in what you said. So I'm actually coming straight back over to you now, Wad. So to conclude this section on more actionable advice or specific advice about starting your career in project management, what would you say are the, I mean, I'm sure you're speaking to people about this every day, what are the key steps for starting your project management career? So what's the first thing someone should do after this call right now if they want to start getting into project management, and then the steps following that?
The first thing to do would be to book in a consultation with either me, one of my colleagues, a career consultant here. Then you'll get really personalised advice. We'd understand more about what background you've come from in terms of your work experience, if you have studied and actually paved that path specifically tailored to you. So I would say that's the thing to do. As soon as you get off this, make sure that you book a consultation and we can start seeing what that looks like for you.
Excellent, thank you very much. So we're going to move into the final section. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about the support that learning people can offer once you have enrolled. So after you've done that first step that Wad spoke about, once you're enrolled, once you are a student, once you've passed your first exam. And a lot of this, so we spoke earlier about how Vita's team will help you with your studies and moving through those as effectively as possible. And then you'll be working with the career services team on your applications. So I'm going to put a little poll for everyone now. So this is the final poll of the session, just to get a feeling of how confident people are feeling in their ability to apply for jobs, in their applications, in their CV, in their LinkedIn, and all of that. So you should be seeing that now. Feel free to just pop your answers in as we continue into the next section. And I think we're coming to you, Vita, for some more information about how learning people is supporting the students. So would you like to talk just a little bit more about student care and what people can expect once they have enrolled and are coming over to your team for support?
Yeah, of course. So the bottom line is you get support from day one. So obviously it starts with working with Wad and her team, and yeah, the wider teams of career consultants. Essentially what will happen, you get put onto your first welcome webinar where we basically show you around the platform, tell you everything about what learning people have to offer. And then from that point, you actually get to meet your student care consultant on day one. And you can work with them on a one-to-one basis throughout the entire duration of your learning journey. So essentially our main point of support is to get you to that first certification, but it doesn't stop there, because obviously, yes, you'll be working with career services at that point as well, but you might have some other certifications that you need to do. So yeah, we're basically there to sort of be your cheerleaders, keep you on track. But yeah, we'll start off with the study planning call. We help you with setting goals. We actually look at a study timetable as well, so it fits in really nicely around your life. We can see the little pockets that you've got in your day to study, and then we work with you through check-in calls as well. So that's more of a shorter call, but it is just another check-in just to see how things are going, and that, if you like, is sort of the accountability piece. So if for example one of my students I was to notice is falling behind, I will be the person to sort of bring that up with them and sort of go, okay, sort of what's going on, I can see your progress, is everything okay? And that's where I suppose the more pastoral support comes in. So we appreciate everyone's got a lot of stuff going on in their day to day, and sometimes it doesn't really facilitate studying alongside that. So we'll have that conversation, whether you need a bit of additional support, perhaps even an extension for some of those extenuating circumstances. But yeah, we get to know our students on a very, very, I suppose, personal level. I have, one student recently who, it was about 6 months ago, I noticed that they were falling behind, and they were in a way lying to me and saying, no, everything's fine. And I said, I can see your progress. Honestly, at the rate things are going, I can't imagine you'll pass your certification within your enrolment period. So now's the chance to be honest with me and have that conversation on what we can do to get you back on track. And essentially what we did from there is just increase the level of calls that she and I had. I'm really pleased to say that they've actually just recently got their exam voucher, and they're about to sit their CompTIA Data Plus exam, and hopefully then get to work alongside career services. I know that Sophie dipped out because she has to hold a masterclass, but if you like, I can talk a little bit about career services because I have the cool.
Yes, that would be great. Sorry, and just before you do, let's look at the poll answers because that's quite relevant to that section. So I'm going to end it there. I think most people have answered already. So only 6% of people on this call would say they're very confident in applying for jobs, and I think that's extremely normal. It's a difficult thing. It's not a skill that you're born with. It's something that you do need some coaching with and to gain confidence over time. The majority of people would say they're quite confident but would benefit from some guidance, and 31% say that they really struggle. So, and then if we're looking at how people feel about their CV, that's interesting. About half and half, but slanting towards people who feel like their CV needs updating, with almost the other half feeling that it's quite strong. That's, it's more split. And then LinkedIn, it's, again, more on the side of needing a bit of support. So 64% seem they need help with their LinkedIn. So that gives you a bit of a head start, Vita. These are exactly the kind of things that career services help people with. And yes, thank you. Sophie's actually on a career services webinar right now, supporting people. So Vita will sub in.
Yeah, so I obviously don't work in career services. I am a student care consultant, but luckily we do sit all in the exact same office. I sit very close to Sophie, so I have a good understanding on what they do. But I like to think of career services as, yes, it happens after your first certification, but you do sort of understand about that process from day one. So as part of the enrolment process, you actually get invited to a welcome webinar with career services too, where they explain in detail what to expect when it gets to that point. The benefit of being a project management student is that a lot of project management certifications are fairly short. You can be realistically sitting your first exam very, very soon, which means that you then get access to career services. So yes, it's a bit of a journey to get you there, but actually for project management especially, I do notice that we get a lot of exam passes within the first 2 to 3 months of their enrolment, which is great because then they can continue to finish those other certifications, but they're already working with Sophie and her team. And again, it's a one-to-one support. So you get an assigned career services consultant from the point of passing that exam. They've all got history working in different recruitment backgrounds. They've got a really, really good base level understanding of what employers are looking for. But it will start with a welcome webinar, again, just introducing you to the service. They'll assign you their first task, which will be working on building your CV and getting that to a really, really strong standard. You get to feed that back with your career services consultant, and it goes on for as long as you need it to go on. And they are politely, they're not brutally honest, they're wonderfully honest in that they want that CV to be at a really, really good standard. And if it's not, believe me, they will tell you. So they'll feed back the CV. Once that's done, they'll get you working on your LinkedIn activity, networking. It will be a series of masterclasses, one-to-one calls, back and forth emails. The benefit of working with career services is that you essentially get that service for life. So really, if you wanted to even reach back out to Sophie and the team and you qualified for career services previously with learning people, they are in a position where they can help you again. So it's for as long as you need it. It's a lifetime service, and as Matt has attested to, we have a lot of students that will come back to the team, but also we have really, really big success rates. So 97% of our students will get to that first job, and a lot of our students will want to basically work with us again. So it's an effective service. It's one-to-one. We really, really all of the student services team really work closely with our students and get to know them on a really personal level. So we love seeing the success. It's not just a job for us, it's actually seeing our students achieve things from day one, but also from into that new role. So I think I've wrapped it up. I don't know if there's anything else I've missed.
There's something I'd want to just add to that quickly, is that we had a really good example of a student come up recently that, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this, it's not an easy journey. I don't think if anybody is on this call sitting there thinking, oh, it sounds so simple, I'll just enroll on a course and then a year from now I'm going to be in dreamland scenario and it's going to be plain sunshine and rainbows all the way through. It isn't, because life happens, right? And things are different for different people. But that's why we have such varied teams, and that's why the support that we offer on that human side of things is different than anybody else. And you've absolutely nailed everything that makes student care and career services fantastic. But from us in the enrolment side, when we actually retrospectively look at a student's journey, we actually realize what that looks like for people. Like this student of ours enrolled back in October and has just secured a dream job. They've been a career changer from a different industry. They've had different struggles in their personal life that have knocked their motivation. At one point, they'd applied for like upwards 60 or 70 roles without getting the success. And it was because of the motivational advice that their student care advisor gave them that made them change their work-life balance so they could fit time into study and feel motivated again. Their career services advice meant that they changed off the back of a masterclass how they approach their CV and covering letter. And they even had somebody in finance help them when, you know, they were having a period of go, I'm not too sure if I can afford this monthly payment. It's that support which really does separate the amazing work that you guys do in career services, student care and finance I've just mentioned. That makes a difference. I have every faith that that student, unfortunately, would have dropped out if they'd been self-studying or if they'd even been with another company, because you need somebody that's a bit more, you said brutally or constructively honest. It's somebody that's not your friend or your family member or inside your head going, hey, I can look at this objectively. This is my advice based on the hundreds of students I speak to monthly. This is what you need to do. Keep the faith. And next thing you know, inside 7 months of that person beginning their journey, they're in a dream role. And I think that's amazing. And the fact that 25 to 30% of all of our successful job roles that we secure come from second or third roles as well, I think is equally testament to the element of the lifetime services, because your career will change. You know, you'll change industries, you'll get promotions, you want to move into different departments, and we're here for that as well to help them. So I think, yeah, whilst you did an amazing job of talking about it, I think it's wider reaching than sometimes even us involved in it can appreciate.
Excellent. Thank you so much. A great discussion. And thank you so much, Rita, also for filling in for Sophie and talking so well about career services and the value of it. That's really great for people to know. So that is the end of the official agenda. We do have some Q&A questions. And the first few are specifically about certifications, and they're all quite similar. So I'm just going to stack them up, and then someone can answer if they wish. So we've had two anonymous questions live in the Q&A. If Prince 2 is now outdated, which Agile certificates are the ones now in demand? Then we have a second one of someone who is studying Prince 2, but wonders if it's worth doing another Agile qualification to improve their job prospects. And then on top of that, we have someone who asked a question before generally about what they have a project management experience, but no certifications. So which ones would we recommend? So all quite similar, just looking for course recommendations that match employer demand. And let me just...
I'll take some of it and then I'm going to hand over to Wad on that. The simple answer is, Wad said it earlier, speak to your careers consultant, please. It's not as simple as do course A to then move course B because you're doing course C and get result D. It doesn't work like that. It all depends on everything from age, experience, sector, industry, location. It would make a huge difference. That's where the advice of people like Wad and the team come in and make a difference. As a general rule of thumb, though, it does come down to the fact that Prince 2's interest is waning, but still remains hyper relevant depending on certain sectors. We still continue to offer Prince 2 certifications for that very reason. If it's the right thing for you, you need to do the course. If it's the right thing for your career, you need to do that course. It's as simple as that. But that's where the consultant journey comes in. I think that's the perfect time to hand over to Wad really about the Agile certification side of things and the industries and sectors, but depending on what you're doing and the person already doing Prince 2. So Wad, I'll hand over to you.
So about the certifications. So with Agile, like we said earlier, it's the planning framework. The difference really is that Agile is a lot more flexible in the past few years. I'd say probably COVID was the catalyst. That need for flexibility and agility in the way that you plan projects is much, much greater now. So while Prince 2, it's not as though it's a wasted venture at all. It still is used, I'd say predominantly within construction, but with the beauty of project management being so diverse and varied, most likely in your career you'll work with amongst different sectors, getting a certification in Agile makes it so that that door stays open, and you're future-proofing yourself in that way as well, because then you can, once you've got Agile, you know you've got it, and you can, it stays with you for years to come, whereas Prince 2, you will likely have to retrain down the line. So that's about Agile. All the training as well, it's all, like Vita touched on earlier, it's all online and self-paced, so it really does fit into your life very well. There's at no point do you have to take time off work or anything like that. Make it as flexible as possible for you to reach your goals.
Just off the back of that as well, I think you need to, one case in point as well, because the question is what Agile certification, sorry, just clarify, when I said again, speak to your consultant, that will vary as well. Agile is a generic term for an approach to planning projects. Every certification we carry on our website, every course that's part of our portfolio is super relevant to the different sectors we've alluded to. They're always internationally recognized as well, but there will be certain nuances. If someone was asking for advice on one, it would be Agile PM. That's a qualification that comes in two shapes. It comes in foundation and practitioner level. That's the most recognized in the UK job market. That's definitely the bread and butter of the Agile methodology. So if you had to pick one, it would be combining that in the form of foundation and practitioner.
Excellent, very detailed answers. Thank you very much. I think this is going to be the final question then that this came through. I think this Q&A box is now, we've worked our way through most of the questions. We did have one that came in before around AI, not around AI, around learning, being a mature student, I suppose. So I'm turning 60 this year and I want to change my career path. How difficult would this be if I took one of your courses? So is it, can you career change it at 60, I suppose is the question.
Yes, you can. Age is an advantage sometimes with project management. The reason being is a project has a start, a middle, and an end, right? So sometimes you can work on contractual bases. Age sometimes reflects a huge wealth of those cross-transferable skills that we were talking about earlier. And, you know, also we are working longer these days as well. You know, someone that's age of 60 doesn't have the same, should we say, short career span as somebody that does when they're 60 now compared to 20 years ago. So you've probably got quite a long time still working, and having project management as a profession is an ideal thing to move into because it will reflect your transferable skills you've accrued throughout your career. But also there is a wider point of this. We talk about people moving into project management when they have those skills and background. What about the huge number of people probably on this call that just need project management skills to boost their current profession? And I think that's the thing. Vita, I'm going to come back to you actually on this about supporting students in that situation, because particularly career services who you sit with as well, and in your own experience, you see a lot of people that need project skills to actually become better and more employable, to show that they're adapting to modern trends and modern markets and modern jobs, even if it's staying within education, healthcare and things like that. Right? Would you say that's a safe thing to say as well, Vita?
Yeah, I would 100% agree, and I do think it comes back to the you know, the hard skills and soft skills that you already have, but then the things that you'll gain whilst completing the certification. So yes, everybody's got skills that they can apply to a new area. There is obviously a gap there. I'm sure Sophie could probably explain this a lot better than I am. But yeah, with the training itself, you're building practical skills that you can apply to your area quite confidently. The platforms themselves are blended learning, so you've got a mix there of activities, you've got resources in there like manifestos that will help you, you've got test prep, so you feel really, really confident going into that. The qualification is great and it shows that you can do that job, but the skills you gain along the way are the more important things that will definitely help you with landing that first role. Short and sweet. Do you want me to elaborate anything further? Cool.
Amazing, thank you. Okay, are we good for one more, and then we're going to have to call it a day for timing. Thank you so much. It's great that people are so engaged and sending through so many great questions. So we have a question with multiple parts here at the end. And thank you for the kind notes. An anonymous question. They've said at the end that they feel this is a very constructive and informative webinar compared to others, which is really great to hear. I'm glad you think so. So there are different parts. Oh, it's just disappeared from me. There are different parts to the question. The only bit I might throw over to the panel is how long the courses take, although I'm pretty sure the answer is it depends. There are some other parts of the question around, does it include AI? Yes, it's project management sector-specific training. It does include relevant AI skills training that are sector-specific and relevant for the roles you want to get. How much it costs, that very much is a it depends question. You'll have to talk to your career, book a career consultation. Completely depends on your career goals and the learning pathway they set up for you. So that will be one that you'll get on a bespoke basis. You won't necessarily have to all pay up front. There are financing options available. But again, I would ask you to talk to your consultant about that. How many days a week do you need to commit for the training? Part of the good thing about it being flexible online learning is that you can set your own pace. You can learn in your own hours. You can decide how much you commit to it. That will depend how fast you move through the content, but that's also a decision you can make as long as you do it within your license period. I will let someone from the panel quickly answer about how long they take.
Interesting segue, but I'm going to say they take longer now than they used to because we've just brought in, as of, well, today I say, new AI training as well, which we only went live with actually this morning, and it's very unique in the industry. We're incredibly excited about it. It's via somebody called AI Certs, that are a new partner of ours, and they actually specifically have job titled AI courses. So for example, AI for project management fundamentals is what we just launched today, because the alarming statistic is that over 85% of people that do training in AI can't apply it directly to their role, which is madness. So we're solving that problem single-handedly, I think, and it's great to see that they're now on board as a partner of ours. That was a cheeky segue from me to do that. How long it takes to do the courses, it depends purely on the individual. It depends completely on what your lifestyle's like, how often you can do, what your personal life like, your work situation is. But again, flexibility is key, as Vita said, as we've all said, that there is no set amount of hours in a week that you should be doing, but you get at least a full 12-month training license in order for you to be successful in that as well. Was that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I would say, just to add to that, on average, our students are doing about 5 to 10 hours a week. And under that, guys, if you're on a full pathway, it'll be about 100 to 140 hours. So you can complete roughly within the 2 to 4 months mark, but take that with a pinch of salt because, like Matt said, depends on your schedule and your flexibility and what you're able to put into it.
Fantastic. Well, good note to end on. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined today. I'm glad that it seems some of you have found it informative. I hope you all have. We will be sending out a recording of this as soon as possible, so you can refer back to it when you want to. Thank you so much to the panel. It's been great to hear from all of you. I know we're talking most days, but still, it's great to hear your answers. Great to discuss this with you. Have a lovely rest of your day, everybody. And yeah, you'll get the recording soon.